Another season under Sam Pittman. You know, Joe, this time last year, we were asking the question if Sam Pittman was going to get fired. Bobby Petrino would take over mid-season as an interim head coach. That didn't happen. They stayed with Sam Pittman, and now we look at Arkansas going into the season in 2025 with a lot of new players and faces. When you look at Arkansas going into the season of 2025, how do you see them?
They're a team that very specifically is defined by the performance of their quarterback and the performance of their offense. We've talked about a lot of teams in these previews, but I think that the rest of Arkansas's roster is fine. They had a lot of changes that they went through. Lost 2 of their 5 starters to the portal, 2 guys left. They have 3 returning defensive starters, but there's one key variable that is the same. Taylen Green, who is one of the most athletically gifted quarterbacks in the country, is being coached by one of the most creative offensive coordinators that has ignited some of the most. Do we have news?
No, sorry.
Okay, I thought that was on purpose. I really thought that you were going to say that there was some crazy big news. I was like, you've never interrupted me mid-sentence, so I was like, "Oh my god, did somebody just
I was
get
trying
fired?"
To adjust, I was trying to
Bielema arrested.
Brett Bielema shows belly button on the timeline. I'm just kidding. Continue. Sorry, and that's funny because this is our Arkansas segment,
right? My point that I was getting at here, the main variable that we know for certain is that Taylen Green showed us a lot of promise working with an offensive coordinator that has had a past of really tapping into the potential of some gifted quarterbacks, very specifically Lamar Jackson in winning his Heisman Trophy. Not trying to imply that I think Taylen Green is going to go on to win a Heisman Trophy, but second season in the offense, this could be a really big make or break year for Sam Pittman, for Bobby Petrino, and for Taylen Green, for defining what their futures look like.
Oh, it definitely is a season definer. I mean, what are you doing if you go 6-6 with him again?
It's a failure in my eyes. 6-6.
I mean, I got to be honest with you, Joe. If they don't get to 8 or 9 wins, what are you doing?
They're going to keep them, but like what
I'm saying is if you don't.
Oh, yeah.
Like you got to get there. Now, here's a little something that me and you have kind of thrown at you a couple times. All these quarterback lists have been coming out of top quarterbacks in the SEC. I got to be real with you. I'm taking Taylen Green over some of these guys that they have above him probably 10 times out of 10. I think that there were a couple of things that went against him last year. There were some injuries at wide receiver. There's some injuries along the offensive line. Luke Haas got injured. And quite honestly, I mean, like, he was not the reason they lost to Oklahoma State. I mean, they had multiple fumbles. They fumbled a punt. Like, they should have never lost that game ever. Or no, they did win it. Didn't they win it, or did they lose it?
They lost.
Right, they did lose it. But to a team that won 3 or 4 games. I mean, like, completely just fumbled. I don't know if they did. I feel like that now that I'm thinking about it, I think they did lose. They did win that game. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm checking right now. Yeah, they did lose that game.
Right.
They were killing them, and then they had a bunch of stupid turnovers that it was like, oh my God. That was a frustrating game for me because I predicted that Arkansas was going to win and they blew it.
The Arkansas special. They did get a big win last year versus Tennessee, a playoff team that some of us probably thought shouldn't have been a playoff team. But regardless of that, Taylen Green last year completed 60% of his passes. Joe, that's got to come up. Like, it's got to come up. In that offense and what they want to do, it's got to be better. The problem I have is Joe, who is he going to throw the ball to? Like, I know that they went out and got 4 kids out of the portal. Like, they went and got Crutchfield. They went and got Omega Blake. They went and got Ishmael, Sissy. Joe, are any of those guys number ones? Are any of those guys number ones? I don't know. You lost a really good tight end in Luke Haas that went to Ole Miss. You're bringing in offensive line, which, by the way, I can't believe I say this under Sam Pittman, has been kind of a joke the last couple of years. They have not been good along the offensive line. And look, they blamed Cody Kennedy a couple of years ago. And it didn't change. They still were giving up a lot of sacks with a dude that can really move. I am interested to see what he looks like with Bobby Petrino in year 2. The problem I have is I don't know if he's got enough weapons around him. And by the way, they had to go in the portal and get 2 running backs who maybe they can run the football. Maybe they're better there. I don't know. But I do think Taylen Green as an athletic quarterback is a lot better than people are giving him credit for. So I think Bobby Petrino can do some good things. I really do. I think that they can be better and Green can be better under him in year 2. I worry about the things around him more than I worry about Taylen Green. Legitimately, I do. Go back and watch that A&M game. My man was getting pressured all over the place. I mean, like, Joe, he got hurt against LSU in a game where he had no time at all. I mean, he was under pressure all night. He's got to be better at anticipating pressure. But, Joe, I don't know if he's got the weapons. I don't think they got a receiver better than Armstrong than they had a year ago. And you lose arguably one of, if not the best tight end in the SEC in Luke Haas. Joe, I think that this is going to be a lot of the same in a lot of situations. They're going to have to prove to people that they can develop from within. And look, their roster is getting purged. Their roster got purged a year ago from the portal, and it got purged again this year. Joe, I feel like you're putting a Band-Aid on something that, man, I don't know if it's going to work yet or not.
Well, so like that, what you brought up here, that last part is important, that there's a lot of roster turnover. They're one of these teams that we've talked about that has just immense changes, just a lot of roster changes. It's tough to win. We talk about this all the time when you've got new starters on your offensive line, new starters on your defensive line. I look at this roster and it's hard for me to like really pinpoint who are the guys, the key returning starters that I'm like, okay, that guy I feel confident is going to be one of the top 5 player in the SEC at his position. Cameron Ball is a really good defensive lineman for them. Outside of that, I have a lot of questions. I don't know who. I would love to learn more about this team. I'm sure Arkansas fans are going to comment like, well, you don't know X, Y, or Z. You don't know this guy, that guy, or that guy. You're right. I don't. From the national perspective, when we have these conversations, if I am not familiar with a player, I'm not going to know enough. And that means that guy's typically not of a high enough of an impact compared to other guys in the conference. He might be a good player on your team, but if he is not nationally known, he does not stack up with the teams that they're facing off with on what appears to be a difficult schedule, which we will get to in a second. But I will say this, Blake, though.
It's brutal.
It's a tough schedule. I feel like the roster that I'm looking at now, going into last season, we had low expectations. I had higher expectations than you because I said, watch out for Taylen Green. And I was the only person out of anybody previewing any of the SEC teams saying Arkansas is going to be better than everyone thinks that they will be. And they ended up, proving that they could be capable because of Taylen Green. And I say that to say Taylen Green could be a defining factor again, as I led in this segment. This roster, is it drastically worse than last year? I would say it's basically the same.
I agree because Satang is not there. Joe, a kid in Tesla got drafted and they barely used him.
But that's my point, is that like Tesla gets drafted and his production was okay. He was a little bit overdrafted. Landon Jackson's the one player I go ahead and say like, hey, that kid was great. He was one of the best defensive linemen in the country last year. Losing him is going to be tough replacement. But like the rest of this team, the roster from last year, this year, it's not like there's some drastic drop off. So a second year with Taylen Green, while I'm really focusing on him, he is so dynamic as an athlete and as a playmaker that if he unlocks better decision making, that could be enough for them to win 7 games and outperform expectations.
I do agree that he is the ultimate X factor here from them offensively. I totally agree with you there. I mean, when you have a dude that's that athletic and can do some special things, I agree that he could be an X factor that no one really saw coming. Is Arkansas that team that no one wants to talk about? Little old Arkansas, but they just have an outright dude at quarterback. The problem that I have with them as a team, though, you brought this up, and I kind of wanted to focus in on it. Where are they going to get pressure from defensively? Joe, they have
Ball's the best guy that I know coming back.
Okay, well, they're secondary. I mean, Joe, they got obliterated in the portal, and they have a lot of it, quote unquote, experience, but not in-game experience. I mean, Joe, think of the quarterbacks that you got to go up against in the SEC. Think about them. And we'll get to their schedule in a minute. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier. You got to go up against Arch Manning. You got Marcel Reed. All these different teams that you're going up against with these really good quarterbacks. And, Joe, I don't know if their secondary is going to be able to hold up. I have no clue where they're getting pressure from. Now, I know that they want to send a lot of pressure and they want to do a lot of different things, and it's by committee. Joe, when they don't get there, they're getting abused. I thought that outside that Tennessee game, the biggest problem that they had, we were talking about that Oklahoma State game earlier, the quarterback that you hated, Bowman. I mean, down the stretch, he was making elite big throws against a secondary that was weak. I mean, and they were him. He was making those him. I don't know if they're better there, Joe. Look, I will tell you this. If they are an 7-5, 8-4 team, it's because Taylen Green beat somebody he wouldn't, maybe like Tennessee, and he goes off. Maybe by the grace of God, they can go 9-3 with that brutal schedule. That would be a surplus. I just don't. I can't look at this like you bring in Mike Washington as a running back. AJ Green comes back. Maybe they run the football and defensively they can do some things that none of us are anticipating. There's nothing on this sheet of paper when I look at it outside of Taylen Green that I'm like, oh, shit. Like, oh, shit. But here's the problem that I've always had with Arkansas. What is your expectations? Because if your expectations is for you to win 7, 8, 9 games, Joe, they're spending way too much money in other sports, not for football to be a mainstay. I'm sorry. It's
always been odd to me. There's a commitment in other sports, but it feels like
Joe, they have the biggest chicken importer and exporter in the world or in the United States, and they have Walmart. The Walmart logo is on their field. On their field. And I'm going to continue to say this. I don't care that Arkansas does not have a massive in-state recruiting process. Joe, you go out there and you mean to tell me that Walmart and Tyson Chicken can't spend with Nike? You're outside your box. You're outside. The Waltons paid for the Broncos franchise in cash. In cash.
Yeah, we forget about that.
And you're trying to sit here and tell me that they can't do bigger and better things. They can. The problem is under Sam Pittman and looking at them, there's nothing outside of Taylen Green that goes, that scares the shit out of me. Now, they did do something last year that I really like. They run the football and they try to play tough. And you got to respect it. But, Joe, when it came down to it, defensively, they could not make the plays. And that because they're athletically, they couldn't do it. Chris Paul left. All of their dudes are leaving. They're not able to hold on to them, and I think it's an indictment on their head coach. And, Joe, I got to be honest with you. I think they're 6-6, 7-5. That's where I see them. Unless the X factor and asterisks in that statement is if Bobby Petrino can get Taylen Green to go off, then all bets are off for me.
So for reference here, I'm going to read the schedule like we always do.
Let's go to schedule.
Versus Alabama A&M, week 1. Versus Arkansas State, week 2. Then at Ole Miss, at Memphis, versus Notre Dame. They get Notre Dame at home, bye week. At Tennessee, versus Texas A&M, versus Auburn, versus Mississippi State, at LSU, at Texas, versus Missouri. All of their difficult games, most of them, they're on the road. So I'm talking about SEC games. Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU, Texas, they have to travel for. That is a non-starter for me that they're in this situation. We were naming 4 football games that they have to travel to. All of those are difficult environments against good teams. Maybe you steal Ole Miss because of what happened last year against Kentucky, but I would not put my chips in on that happening in week 3.
Oh, Joe,
This is a 6-win schedule at best. 7-win if everything goes really well.
I'm going to throw this your way. What is Tennessee with Joey Aguilar? I mean, do we really know? Could it be that one? I don't know. A&M. I mean, look, that's a massive rivalry game. A&M has shown that they can falter in moments. I mean, maybe there. I mean, that game is always close regardless. This year it's in Fayetteville, by the way. Auburn, I think that they can beat Auburn and Mississippi State, but you got at LSU that they're not. I don't think that they're winning there in November. I just don't. I don't think they win in Baton Rouge in November, and then they go to Texas. And Joe, I got to be real with you. A team that we haven't really talked about much, Missouri. Bo Prabula did show some things at Penn State, like everybody's just throwing Bo Prabula out with the bathwater, and I'm like, what? Joe, I'm sorry.
This might be a losing record, actually, now that the more I look at it, because it's like,
by the way, we didn't even
what are the wins?
We didn't. That's where I'm trying to get at. Taylen Green against it, like if they upset Notre Dame, I'm just throwing this out there. It's because Taylen Green went stupid. He's got to go, Joe. I don't want to say it like this because it's going to be misconstrued. He's got to go full Jaden Daniels. Like he's got to go full Jaden Daniels in the sense of, hey, you're not open, I'm gone. And at the end of the game, he beats Notre Dame, and you're like, shit, how did it happen? And you look up in the box score, and he's got 15 rushes for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. He threw for 250 and 2 touchdowns, and you're like, it was a Taylen Green show. That is going to have to be how they win. If that happens, Joe, for the rest of the season on any of these games in this schedule, all bets are off for me. He can't do it alone. He's not going to be able to do it alone. Joe, I don't know where are your 6 wins?
Well, okay, so you got your 2 gimme. You got 3 G5 opponents and 2 G5 and an FCS. Yeah, I think that they're going to beat them.
Okay, so that's 3. Mississippi State 4.
They would need, they're going to beat Mississippi State. They would need to steal Texas A&M at home. It's not it's not at Jerry World this year. Steal Auburn. And I don't know if you're going to get Tennessee on the road. They'd have to steal one of these difficult road games.
Because I don't know what Joey Aguilar is going to be honest with you.
Yeah. Still a road game at Tennessee, though.
Well, and Tennessee's going to be pissed off about what you did to them last year.
Yeah. Yeah. Teams always get their get back at some point.
Golly.
6 wins, 6-7 wins, best case scenario. But that's going to require, as you just said, you're going to need a couple of games in there where you're like, holy shit, Taylen Green might be one of the best players in the SEC.
Well, if he's doing that, we're going to